Hello, Transformers and Blokees fans. This is Speedbar on today for you guys. I have for you from Blokees renamed Classic Class Now Champion Class Series. I have for you the TF1's own True Prime, Sentinel Prime. Yes, Sentinel Prime in the Blokees series has not one but two units in its entire release, and that honestly surprised both myself and a number of fans when the Champion series had revealed them. I mean, no one's thought we were going to get a Sentinel release for a model kit after the Galaxy release that we got. But it's honestly really cool in a sense because it fits the idea of Sentinel in many ways perfectly. For one, the model version you see here gives us a lot more for sure from the Galaxy version, but it also gives us like a sort of a personality difference in between, because you have the Galaxy version, which is of course the smaller version, but the more, I guess you could say, the more friendly version to Sentinel, you could say. When you have the Champion version you see here, well, loaded out and ready to kill, literally, since all the weapons. And note, for those who were wondering, Sentinel is the out of the TF1 Champion line, is the only one out of them that has so many accessories. And I mean literally that. I mean, that's why I have them set up like this. You can literally see all the accessories. Here's, I mean, it is crazy. They went full battle armor version with him, and it's like awesome, because I don't even think any of the regular like Hasbro toys have even given us this kind of accessory amount. I mean, it is really nice. I mean, the details are epic. He's got a battle mask. He's got his energy shield here, arm cannon, of course, his swords, rock cannon legs, shoulders, even an arm cannon. Now, I know that in the box art you see there, it's supposed to glow, but it doesn't. It's just a port for a hand. But, you know, it's just fun to imagine, right? But it's so cool. The detailing is nice on him and such. And yeah, now, of course, do note, though, when you have him in his battle mode with his jet booster feet, literally, you do need a stand for him, because he's not going to stand up on these, no. But speaking of his stand, just as I've mentioned in my other TF1 reviews, this is indeed the same Rise of the Beast style size stand pieces that, of course, just like theirs, can connect to all their fellow, wave mates and so forth. And yeah, it comes with the same type of energy effects and such, which really looks nice. And the whole golden energy pillars like these, yeah, I could see why they did it for Sentinel, because, you know, the whole golden energon situation deal. I could see that. But as for the actual kit himself, like I've already stated, it is a really nicely designed kit, but I must mention that it does have flaws. I say this not to be mean, but I say this because, unfortunately, I have seen them myself. One example is like here with the arm. It does all the same poses like you would with any of the other TF1 kits. The only problem I've noticed with mine, I could be wrong, maybe it's just my copy, but I haven't heard, but as you just saw there, I intentionally removed it, but to show you that the actual peg that's supposed to go in the arm here, that connects here, is loose. The connection is just very loose, my friends. I mean, it stays in, no problem. It's just, it's very loose to me. I can feel it. It just doesn't feel as tight as it should. I mean, it's okay, but it's not the best either, unfortunately. And I've noticed that with other parts too, mainly with that section, but I've also noticed with other parts, like for his head, for example. You can pose it, but the problem is because of the armor and such, the head only has very limited, positions you can put it in. So because of the neck setup, so do keep that in mind. And other than that, I've noticed like armor, like for the chest here, it will bang into like the shoulder armor here and such, and can get stuck on it. So keep that in mind too, my friends. I haven't had that issue with leg joints or anything like that. It just seems to be those sections I mentioned are the only real issues I've seen with this kit. Now, the good news is, however, I have heard of upgrade parts that other brands have worked on that you can get for the Blokees Sentinel Prime to upgrade some of those concerns. I just don't know specifically what parts. I'd have to look into that. But yes, other than that, my friends, really, I haven't really had any other issues with him. I mean, I just like the fact that, certain parts could have been a little bit better, but it's nothing really bad to worry too much about, because here, like, I'll show you. I can still shake him and so forth, and, throw him around, and nothing's falling off him, so that's at least a good sign. And posability, you can still do some good poses with it, so there's no worries there. And of course, speaking of which, let's go with some articulation so you can see it. Now, of course, as I mentioned, armor will bump into other sections and so forth like that, so it is a bit tricky, like with his wings and such in the way, but that's, well, to be expected. And like I said, this section will bump into armor as well. But other than that, you can do some good poses with him, as you can see. His arm can bend up to here. He's got a ball jointed hand. Now, right now, I can't really move this one because of the armor setup, but that's a good thing in this case, because as you can see with this arm, they designed his wrist sections to where you can extend the armor down and such to do other poses and weapons and such, like you see with the arm cannon, and of course over here with his beam shield setup and all that. So it allows you to do more poses, more accessories, and so forth. And same with the leg section here. You just remove this armor here and plop those in together, and there you go. And, well, the feet, well, verniers. Now, as for other articulation sections, well, as you can see with the armor weaponry deployments, you can do this with these parts. For the wing sections, you can pretty much go as far as you can with the ball joint. For the waist, so far, you can go about that far. And I already showed you the head. And as for the legs, pretty much that far, in full bend back with either the foot or the vernier. And a full turn with this. And you got a ball jointed foot, so either this or the standard foot will be about the same. And such like that. So, and other than that, for accessories, of course, as I mentioned, yes, he has a ton, and not just the ones he's using right now. He still has some leftover ones, including his feet, no joke, a number of hands, pretty much the standard loadout of all the TF1 units, open hands, open fist hands for weapons, and surprisingly enough, and this is no joke, and I'm going to try to get it in there if I can, his chin. And yes, I'm not kidding. That is his chin. You can remove his actual chin for his battle mask that you see up here, or, vice versa deal. But it's interesting because, like I said, out of all the other TF1 units, Sentinel here is the only one that is fully loaded. I mean, he wasn't holding back. I mean, and it, of course, makes sense for, well, if you've seen the movie, you'll understand why, for the reasons that he needs it. And as for, of course, all TF1 champion class units and other, of course, champion classes, he, of course, has his LED feature, which, once I turn the lights down, you can see is pretty much just his eyes. He doesn't have like a matrix or a cog section here that glows or anything, sadly. But, I mean, being how big he is already, I don't think he really needs that. And if you're wondering, yes, you can connect him to his base through his vernier deal here. So if you wanted to pose him on it like this and such, so that way you know. Though, like I already mentioned, I have seen upgrade parts out there, and I'm pretty sure one of them is a display stand piece where you can put him in a flight mode. But I'll have to, like I already mentioned, look into that. Now, other than that, my friends, what else? Oh, of course, as I mentioned with my number of other TF1 reviews, I truly believe the Blokees lineup was set up to do an evolution setup between characters and their Galaxy versions. Now, of course, for Sentinel, that's not the case, of course, because, he never technically evolved except from being a heroic leader to a complete jerk. But in this case, however, it is still, in a sense, an evolution if you think about it, between his Galaxy version and his Champion version, being from the "I'm the trustworthy Prime, you guys can all trust me" deal to "I'm going to kill you all just because" kind of setup. And I do like that idea. I really think that fits. It really works because, as you can see with the Galaxy version, he's got that "I'm cheerful" smile look, and then you got the Champion version's battle mask look, and yeah, you already know what's going to happen. So it's really cool. I do like that idea. And I am still surprised, like I mentioned already, that this line gave us an additional Prime that wasn't, Optimus or Nemesis in this case. And, just the fact that Sentinel already actually has 2 units in this line is pretty cool. And also gives me a little hope for, for future releases, because I would love it if the Champion series were to give us other TF1 characters like the 13 Primes, and other side characters everyone enjoyed. For example, like Arachnid. I mean, come on, we need an Arachnid to go with Sentinel. Alpha Trion, yes, I know it's a 13, but still, I really would love to have Sentinel with Alpha Trion. That'd be an awesome setup. Let's see, of course, more Autobots, of course, and such like that. I mean, or hell, maybe a Quintesson. What do you guys think about that? Would you guys want to see a champion class Quintesson? Please, if you do, voice your opinions below. Let Blokees know. Well, yes, okay. Real quick now, let's take some size comparisons, of course, with other TF1 friends, like his favorite bot in the world, Megatron. And yes, as you can see, with, of course, the assistance of his verniers, Sentinel is definitely a bit bigger than even Megatron. Now, of course, putting back his regular feet, he would still be a little taller, but not by a lot. But in this case, as you can see, yeah, he is still taller. And from a prime to a prime, as you can see, even Optimus is a bit smaller, of course, in this situation. But it is cool to see, like I said, having two different primes from one movie. It's really cool. And in cases, it's normally just a recolor situation, but in this case, it's not. So it's really cool. So lastly, would I recommend Sentinel Prime to you? I could say yes, but like I already mentioned with the certain flaw points that this kit does have, um, I would also consider looking into like any means to fix some of those issues, or even like I said about those upgrade parts if you want. Other than that, it's really not a bad kit, guys. I do like it still because it's, like I said, it's Sentinel and it fits the setup perfectly from the movie, and there's just so many possibilities to work with it. And I also remember that when this kit came out, lots of TF1 fans were just buying him to replace the standard Hasbro toys because he looks way more movie accurate than those toys. And I still think that, yeah, I really have to say his design here looks very movie accurate. And that's another reason I like this version. And that's why I'm hoping, like I already mentioned, we'll see other characters as well. So yes, I can say sure if you want them, definitely. But like I said, maybe look into a few tips about fixing a few of his little flaws. But other than that, yeah. So that is it for today, my friends. I thank you always for coming. I do hope you're enjoying your hobby, and I hope if you're like Megatron, well, I'll get a chance to see you in the next review before he does.